Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us again for another book review. And I just wanted to speak about and introduce the book that I've been working on for a very long time now, called The Vestures of Light and the Rod of Wonder. Those of you that are familiar with the work, you know that I've been bringing up and incorporating into this particular manuscript the prophecy of the 10 kings, and how it is that dominion had been transferable and exchanged and passed down generation to generation among the children of Adam as right to be initiated into the order of the ancients, the garments of power and the rod of wonder, which I also speak about as being the staff of authority and the vestures of light. And so these particular items were given by given by God to Adam, and even said to have been created before the foundations of the world. And then when Adam was cast from paradise and removed from the place of the immortals and placed here on the earth with all of the other fallen angels and legion, he was given these items by God so that he could continue initiating and passing on the rights of the priesthood, the prophet, and the king, which are ordained through the Church of the Firstborn and the order of Melchizedek that is spoken of in the scriptures, that he passed on this knowledge and gave these items to show the unity of the priesthood and the kingship amongst his generations. And it continued this way until the time of Noah. And then when they went into the ark, Ham stole the garments of power from Noah. And I also share in this particular book how it was that these garments, because they're imbued with supernatural aspect, they give the wearer authority and influence over humanity as well as the animals. And that this was part of the reason why Noah was able to keep docile all the animals on the ark for that course of the year that they were dwelling within it. And then after he emerged, he created the altar and gave offering to the Most High. And Ham stole the garments of power, and at that time these relics were separated. And they were separated for 3 generations thereafter. Ham passed on the garments to Cush and then to Nimrod, who utilized them to establish what was the post-flood New World Order and the attempt to establish the Tower of Babel as the foundation for breaching the heavens. And he wanted to do so in order to declare himself as God. He had a plan to shoot arrows that were already had blood splattered upon them, and then he could declare that he had killed the Godhead and assume himself rulership of not only the earth but over the heavens. And realizing that these garments had been stolen by the generations of the seed of the Cain and given over to Nimrod, Esau plotted his murder and did successfully kill Nimrod and remove the garments from him. And then, according to the story of the birthright, which I won't go into great detail because it's very elaborate, but just to give you kind of an idea of the succession and how these things played out, they were restored to the bloodline of Adam with Esau, even though he was considered to be seed of the serpent because of his intermarriage with the Canaanite women and the succeeding his birthright to that of Jacob. And so they were restored to Jacob, who initially gave them over to Judah, but Judah, because he took also wives of a Canaanite wife and had children by her, Tamar, who the royal bloodline would be perpetuated through, she was instructed to wait for him by the wayside, and was given the ring, the staff, and the signet, and presented them as evidence in the court of law that the accusation that was being brought against her by Judah, that she was an adulteress, and that because she was a daughter of Shem and a prophetess, was held to higher standard than regular women. They were going to burn her by fire and kill her and her children. And because she presented this as evidence, Jacob and all of the children of Israel, and some of his brothers, they recognized that he was the one at fault here, and that he was wrong for not giving Shelah to her to continue bloodline, even though that was not something that the Most High wanted, and instructed Tamar to sleep with and to bring forth seed from Judah to continue the line of the Messiah. And so this was also an episode that occurred with the staff, and then we have the prophecy of the stem of Jesse and other things, which again I'm not going to go into great detail, but I did want to introduce that I have completed and have released what I feel is a comfortable draft of this particular manuscript. There are things that I will add at some point, but for those of you that are interested in the story and that would like to go ahead and begin reading and examining what is a very complex and kind of mystery thriller type story, certainly has been one that has been more so with regard to studying and looking into and finding answer from the ancient manuscripts. It's been a more thorough research than I've put together, I believe, when any of my other manuscripts. That a lot of the themes that I have already written about are plain, and when you read the ancient sources, they come to mind. But with this particular topic, I had to really deep and examine a lot of pieces from a lot of ancient commentaries and a lot of ancient sources, which are not readily recognized by most biblical scholars. And so it is available, and unfortunately the conference may be postponed, and that will give you more time to read and study before I do make presentation of this particular topic for what would have been the first time publicly in a conference type setting. Those of you that follow my work know that I have been speaking about and sharing many of the pieces which make up this particular very intricate story of how these particular items connect to the exile, the banishment of Adam from paradise, and also how they connect to what is the restoration and the rectification of the fall of humanity by Messiah, and how it is even connected to the second advent, the Revelation 19:13 return of Messiah, where he is clothed in a vesture dipped in blood and wielding a rod of iron to rule over the nations for what would be the great white throne judgment. And so these items come full circle at that point, and because we know that Christ is a priest, prophet, and king through the order of Melchizedek, that the story concludes with him and with his return, and that we then enter into an eternal age where there is no longer duality, evil, death, and the former things have been passed away. And so it's an incredible tale, an incredible story, and I did release it in both soft and hardback. I welcome commentary from you. I do believe that you will be greatly blessed in reading, and it shows to you how the Most High knew the end from the beginning and incorporated these sacred relics into what is the war between the bloodlines and the ages of dominion of certain kings, making up both the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent, and control over the other in establishing what would be the prophetic revealing of the statues, Daniel's statues, the empires, the kingdoms, how they would come to power, and how God had foresaw and knew all things and released and revealed to his prophets the details of all this unfolding. And so I pray that it bless you, and I thank you for supporting our work. God bless all of you in your seeking. Shalom.